Hello and welcome to the fourth episode already of this Port Corinthe tutorial slash showcase of City Skylines, where a couple of the industry DLCs have been demonstrated, and now I am just busy expanding on my city. And to have this nice, how do you say, there you see me struggling to keep the farmhouse, but to have a nice um, natural feeling, organic feeling to the city, um, I'm going to close it from the other side. So it might not be the perfect, uh, how do you say, not the perfect joining of two parts of the city, but that is actually what I intend. You saw me struggling to keep one of the landmark houses, although that's not the landmarks that the title of this video refers to. That those are of course the landmarks that you can build. But first I'm also building a new industrial park, because the other one is full, and expanding on it even more would mean that traffic would congest. So I'm just making a new one. With its own entrance and exit to the highway, so everything will be okay. It needs some bus connection. And for that to work, I of course need to finish this exit and entrance ramp. I like to use the maximum length of such a ramp, but that's not always possible. And yeah, I do not care about these minor details, that an off and on ramp may be a little bit steep or not. When I'm looking from a top view, those details are hardly noticeable anymore. And if it gets really ugly with when making a video of some first-person drive or something, then you might be adjusting it. But for the moment, it's okay as it is. I'm also making a new highway connection for the residential area. And hey, if coming up would be too steep, then why not keep it down? I'm thinking about what to do next, and I have here this this station which has little or no traffic, so I decided to build a little bit around it, so it might gather some more passengers. That was a little bit too much road, because that can't follow the ground too well. Put out some beautification, because I see some of the perimeters are not so well covered, which is normal, but let's give them a little harbor. I seem to remember that the Expo Center draws a lot of traffic. But first we're going to build a football stadium, because we have grown to such a size that it would be conceivable that this city has a professional football club. I mean, there are towns smaller than this with football clubs that became champions. So here we have the football stadium. football stadium might attract a lot of traffic, so I put it in between two roundabouts. With the snapping starts to get a bit tedious, but I think I have to overdo it anyway. Do it all over. That is a nice roundabout. This roundabout does not support, how do you say, pedestrian traffic. That's something to take notice about, but I make this nice walking path around the stadium and fill it up with some commercial area. There we go. Again, this map is called Aphrodite Valley, so we call it after the valley. Now I'm thinking about how to connect these roads again back to the main system of roads, and there we have it. So this is the next sector we'll be developing. Together with this one here, we're going to build the Expo Center. The Expo Center has, how do you say, events which will attract extra people from time to time, so the station there will be then properly used, I hope. Because from the train station you can get to the subway network, and I hope that people will take that route, or else they come by bus, because there's also a bus station. Now, filling up this stretch of land, which is so close to the rail track, I actually decided to do that with offices, have some more working space. Taking the road under the other one. And there we go. Around the station here we have this office center, which the offices will be very easy to reach. Because of the train station. And where we can fill it up even more. And the electricity grid completed, also to the theater. Now this station is well built in, if I may say so. And as I'm trying to see if it's still working, it gives a nice view. I see that, hey, why is there no sewage? So just put up some more water and sewage systems. If you keep pouring in, taking in the water at the same point, that will create a quite strong current in itself. So by not placing them all at the same spot, you disperse also this current, and the river will not be affected by you drawing all that water out of it. Let's see how the football club is doing. Renaming the stadium. our new citizens, all the services all the other citizens are also getting. And let's get the beach side another connection. Could have maybe micro managed that a little bit better with some more props and stuff, but I most of the times look at it from this height, so most of those details will not be visible anyway. But we have a new quarter here. As you see, this episode is not so much about growing a large city as well as managing the existing city, and now growing step by step. If you would check the stats, it will still a rapid growth, but I'm not in a hurry. So I'm not, how do you say, stamping it full of high density buildings and these really big blocks of houses and other stuff. I just like to, how to say, keep it small, and all the little small stuff grows into one big blanket of a city. And as I can see it now from time to time, I really like the result. Now let's put on the day-night cycle again. I turn it off because, yeah, as you can see, in the nighttime you hardly see anything. But from this point in time, it might be fun to see how the city looks in the dark. And here we have a sunrise over What am I saying? Port Corinthe. This is the next day. Or actually the same day, of course, sunrise. And we just see this new part of town developing. And like I said, it's still based on the kind of grid-like structure I used before. But because I keep on making variations, it does not feel like it's a repetitive motif all the time. At least that's how I look at it. And although I have, of course, a lot of straight and somewhat angled streets, keeping the outside curved will gives this nice natural look to my city. Here I built actually the centerpiece of what's going to be my city. Maybe in one of the next episodes I will really try to micromanage this area, because this is the temple to Aphrodite. The reason why I actually called this map the Valley of Aphrodite's Valley, because the city of Corinthe in ancient Greek housed the temple of Aphrodite, and if you would make some offering there, like a goat or whatever, you'll be well rewarded by the high priestess of the temple of Aphrodite. And I let it up to your own imagination how your gift would have been rewarded. And now the citizens of my port Corinthe can do the same thing, and actually that makes me quite happy, because like I said, that was kind of the basic little things I set up when building this map. and I must say it has gotten a nice, really center stage spot in the city. It is not connected to public transport yet, and that's what we're going to do now. Make 2 lines out of this. One going over the north, and one taking, so to say, the southern route alongside the temple. I'm back. Now, this should disperse traffic a little bit more, and now we're building the aquarium, another of the landmarks, which would be needed to access to be accessible for pedestrians as well. So that's why I'm building these paths, so it is easier to reach. Football stadium, we won our first game. Yoo-hoo! And now let's see if there's also space for the Museum of Modern Arts. Why not? It gives only little sound pollution, so that can be quite close to my residential neighborhood. Again, making some footpaths, and here we have our own little segment in the city, which houses 2 landmarks next to the stadium. That'll be it for this episode. Let's see how this looks in our DLC map mod. And I must say, I think it's beautiful.